that I've ever attended throughout my past more than 5 years in WorldVentures. Because this time around is really, really special that Scott Ross and of course our beloved international director of training Mark Asada poured out their hearts to us. And yes, one of the main takeaways that I've actually learned from throughout the 2 days of acceleration, one of the first things I would like to share is really having that right mindset. You see, a lot of people did not achieve a lot of success, mainly because the question that we asked, Scott Ross actually shared with us, is that did we actually make that decision? Did we actually make that decision that we are going to do our best in order to reach all the way to the top, to achieve IMD? You see, that's one of the questions, that very important question that we have to actually ask ourselves. Have we made that decision? And once we make that decision, are we going to go become a professional network marketer? But very importantly is that, that time where we have to make that decision in order to achieve, in order to get to the top. One of the sharings that I actually heard from one of very, very famous IMD in One Big Team, which is Millie Leong. I'm sure a lot of you know her. And Millie actually shared during her first bootcamp training. Before that first training, she actually didn't know that she's going to achieve success in this business. But after the bootcamp, she actually made a decision that she's going to go IMD. And when Scott actually shared this part, have we actually decided to go IMD? And immediately I related back to what Amelia actually shared, that she decided at that boot camp 5 years ago to go IMD. So this is something that is very, very important, that we have to ask ourselves, have we decided? Yeah. And for me, I have decided that I'm going to go IMD. And what we have to do in order to go IMD is really, it's not just, it's not that because IMD is not for people, that have talent, great talent. Scott Ross actually mentioned that it's our disciplines that will actually determine our results, which this is very important. It's all about continuing to do the right things long enough to learn from the people that has the results that we want. And this is, I think, very, very important in order to achieve, whatever we set up to achieve in our World Ventures business. Definitely there's many, many important points that I've learned throughout the entire 2 days of acceleration. But guys, very importantly, we have to ask ourselves if we have actually made that decision to go all in order to make it all the way to the top. And yeah, so this is one of my major takeaway. And definitely, there's so many golden nuggets that I'm sure a lot of Mike and of course Angelika will actually share more with all of you later on. Really, really, for those people who have not attended acceleration, do not miss our next training event. And for those people that have attended acceleration, I sure hope that we have all gotten the MP3 for the acceleration, because this is like, it's pure goal. I mean, yeah, definitely that it has throughout the last 2 days. And I really, felt so blessed that a lot of us have made the right decision to actually be at acceleration. Yeah, thank you very much. I hope that my sharing today has you know uh, added value to all of you guys, especially for you guys who didn't who was unable to make it to this time round to acceleration. Make sure you never miss any single World Ventures event moving forward. Yeah, back to you, Max.
Wow, amazing. Yes, because Apple just reminded me, the very first day when they first joined, with no experience, and this Apple looks like Ninja Turtle with the turtle shell at the back, dressed in white blouse, black shirt, yeah, as an auditor. But she made that decision, and no looking back. I remember that, even if she's like working in some ulu place, like in some crunchy or something like that, but she's still doing her business and learning things, and then just so amazing. And it's all about making a decision. And that's why Millie Leong becomes a legend, because she made a decision. She's just rocking it, and just like Buffy too, right? When
Yes,
Buffy,
definitely.
is like burn the boat. She sold her clinic and moved back to Taiwan. It's just all about decision. Well done. Thank you, Apple, for sharing. Yep,
Thank you, guys.
yep,
Thank you, Max.
yep. Amazing. And of course, next we have our, suave, handsome. He asked me to say one, okay? Handsome, yeah, suave, yeah, and of course, my big brother taught me a lot of stuff, and this none and RMD Mike. So, Mike, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Would you mind to share what is your major takeaway from this acceleration?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Yes, I think acceleration is something that I look forward to, and I think basically we waited for like 5 past years, because all along when we are listening to acceleration, how we wish we can actually listen to it live, and hearing from Mark, etc., and Scott Ross is like only one word can actually describe. It's actually epic. So everything that they say, I'm like, wow, why didn't they actually do that in the first year? Probably I'll be IMD already. So in that sense, I would say that one thing that out of all, one thing that actually impact me was actually the 4 phases of it. It's like the first phase is actually you are the only one that's actually inviting, recruiting, presenting everything. You just do by yourself. Second phase, you manage a little bit, on the inviting the people that's doing it. The third phase, you supervise the people that's actually inviting, managing them. And the fourth phase is that you oversee everything. So sometimes we get so caught up with, the second and the third and the fourth phase, which we think that is actually the most important thing. But actually what, Mark Zetter actually reminded us that actually is the first phase that's the most important. All right. So, and we always have to actually go back to that phase one, because our business, we are paid on, getting new customer into the business. And if you are not always, scouting for the next best person, and like what Mark Setter said, the number one earner in World Ventures have not joined yet. So it's still out there for us to actually look for it. And there is people that is queuing up to join. It's just whether we are out there to actually, show it to them, present it to them, and recruit them into our business. So, always remind ourselves, go back, wherever you are right now, go back to the phase one, and whatever situation we faces, whatever challenges that we faces, reset it and go back to phase one. And that will always solve whatever situation we actually go in. Because I remember, the day we met my setter, and he just said that, Mike, if you want to be successful in this, always be recruiting, always presenting, always look for your next best ace out there. Because if you don't, if anything happened to your ace or your IMD and so on and so forth, then you'll be at the mercy of them. So always go back to that phase one. So to me, out of all the great teaching of my setter and Scott itself, this one really like right in my face, like so for me, that's what I want to actually take out from there. And most importantly, I would say that after attending every training, most importantly is what do we want to actually apply on it. If you attend the training and then you apply nothing, then it's almost like you did not attend any training. So I will actually, put it out there to anyone that actually attending training. What's the next 30 days, action plan that you want to actually do? For me, it's all about the massive action out there to actually present. Like what they say, AOMA is all out massive action. So that's something that you need to do, is like AOMA, all out making massive action. And I would say if you want to be all out making a massive action, do it on the phase one. Because if you are massively inviting, massively presenting, then everything will fall in place, your ace will appear, and the new blood will appear. And like what my acceptor say, new blood is the lifeblood. So you got to actually be out there. Phase one, phase one, phase one, phase one. I even wrote down on my table, phase one, phase one, phase one. So everyone, get out there in the next 30 days, just go out there and reach out to people. Like what, Scott Ross actually ended, that the intangible things that we have. You got to be the level 10. Just whatever you need to cycle your mind, you wash your mind, you brainwash, whatever it is, just get to level 10. When you're talking to people, you've got to be a level 10. When you are level 10, you could actually, influence them, you can show them. And as you have that clarity, you'll be able to actually attract the people into you, and attract the right people, attract the right leaders to your team, and attract the right A's, attract the right IMD into your teams. So I just want to actually put that out to people, is that get out there to show anyone show. Don't care about the result. And what I get from there is also the detachment from the emotional part of it. Whether they're going to say yes or no, who cares? We're just going to show, right? Just show and show and show and show, right? So thank you very much for this opportunity to actually share what I actually learned from there. And I wish everyone, and I want to see everyone walking the stage in bootcamp for the next rank. And I'm going for my ND. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yep, very good. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike, for sharing this, because, I think everyone being human always goes make the same mistake of going to phase 2 and to phase 3 and phase 4. Then because we go to an event, then we get realize, oh, we have been, making that mistake, and then we go back to phase 1. And that's why, it's not about not making mistakes, but it's about correcting yourself back on track and just making it happen. And that's very, very important. Thank you, Mike Sewell, for sharing that point, because that point is golden there, and that's why we should just all out massive action. Speaking of that, we always talk about income producing activity. And maybe Apple would like to share with us about some stuff about income producing activity, and what are income producing activity and what are not, and what are the ways that we could actually avoid those stuff.
Okay. Okay, hi guys, I'm back again, and let's talk about income producing activities. What actually are income producing activities? A lot of us who have who has been in this business for some time, we all know that we need to we only need to do a few important things, which is to invite, present, close, promote, okay, promote and invite, present, promote, and then
Mm,
training. Yeah. So the thing is that for inviting, all of it, how to make things easier is that we have all the tools that are available for us. Okay, we are so lucky that we have our One Big Team website and all the information and all the tools that we need in order to guide our new members to do all these income producing activities like invitation. Okay, it's all we can get it at One Big Team International website. We have the step by step, from how do we actually list down our people that we are going to invite, and all the step by step invitation methods are all in. We can actually get our getting started sheet, okay, and also the video that guides us on the invitation process through our One Big Team International website. And all, of course, not forgetting our presentation tools. All these tools are also readily available at our One Big Team International website. And of course, we need to use the tools. And if we all use the tools, life is going to be so much easier, because it is very important in our business, which is one thing, which is duplication. Yes, if we do not duplicate, our team is not going to grow, by leaps and bounds. So it is very important that we remember to actually leverage on the tools in order to
oops, Apple, are you there? Well,
entire groups. Okay, sorry, was I
yeah,
cut off?
yes, you were cut off.
Okay,
Sorry.
sorry. Yes. So the more people that can actually duplicate, that can copy what we do, the faster it will be for the growth of our entire team. So there are many. Always remember to leverage on all our available tools, because we have all this done up. All the leaders have already done up all these tools and make it easily available for all the members to just plug in and use it. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
So don't, yeah.
yeah, I just remember what Scott Ross said, right? Always just
Mm.
point to the tools, point to the quick coach, yeah, and it solve a lot of things that which is all the non-income producing activity, but so that allow us to just focus on the income producing activities, and it duplicates because everyone can point to the tools, can point to the quick coach videos that is done by the company. Correct, Apple? Is that the point?
Yes, definitely. All these things is readily available. You can check out, like Max mentioned, all our quick coach video. We can get it from our One Big Team TV itself. You can watch it. There are already the links, that's readily available. All we need is to just scroll through, get the right video, listen to it, and apply it. And if our new members have any question at all, just point them to the right video.
Very good. Thank you so much, Apple, for
Yes.
sharing that amazing
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and
Thank you,
of course,
guys. Thank you, Max.
yes, thanks, Miss Pretty. Okay, and of course, none other than the very important IMD from Germany itself. She just came off from a plane, now resting at home. Mother-in-law, I think. Yeah, mother-in-law, right? And yet, volunteered herself to time to actually be here. So, can we invite IMD Angelika?
Thank you. Greetings from Germany to everybody. um, yeah, Max asked me like, what is the biggest takeaway? And I think that weekend was just so exciting. And I agree to Apple and Mike Max. I think for all of us, this weekend was. We've had training for over 5 years now. This for me was the best training I've ever participated in. I was writing down notes like a maniac, and you asked me to focus on one. I'm like, oh, okay. So I picked one I personally like because I think it explains a lot of the frustration we have, and also sometimes why we kind of get stalled in the middle of a process of building our team. So Mark was sharing about how we always talk about sorting, right? We say some will, some won't, so what. but actually that sorting happens at very different occasions throughout the process. So the first sort is actually like, are they on your list and are you going to invite them? So that's the sorting. Do they make it to the invite? So that's the first level. The second level is you invited them. They said they come. And are you going to stand there with the WorldVentures salute, looking for them? Or are they actually really showing up? So that's the second level. And the third level is they sit in the presentation or in a coffee shop, whatever, but will they actually see it? Will they see what we see, or are they just not getting it? Okay, that's the third sort. So they haven't even joined yet, and we have already sorted 3 times, okay? Now the fourth one would then, of course, be, do they get started or not? You know, are they saying yes to it? And then usually we go, yay, you know, someone wants, so they will, awesome, but we're not sorting yet because they just signed up. What does that really mean? You know, so it doesn't mean anything unless they actually start talking to their contacts. So that is the next, they actually do something about it. And we also learned that only 2 out of 10 actually do something about it, okay? So now that they talk to their contact, with level 5 sorting, then the next level of sorting is, are they coming for training? Because if they don't come for training, chances that they will be successful are extremely, extremely slim. Like Mark said, that he doesn't know of anybody who is really mildly successful in WorldVentures, who's never showed up at training and whose team never showed up at training. So that is the 6th sort. But we're still not done. There's one more, and that was, it comes back to what Apple says, is basically, do they duplicate? And he said only then does it really make a difference. All the other sorting processes, the 6 before, don't make a difference. The only thing that does make a difference is if they start duplicating. And one great way of doing this is really pointing to the tools, because that's way more easier to duplicate than becoming presentation man and becoming the customer service center and all that kind of stuff. So for me, that was a big aha, because although I think we kind of all realize that this is happening, we're not really so aware that these are really the different sorts. And we get kind of like fed up if people say yes a couple of times, they show up, they sign up and all this, but then they don't go for training. And no matter how we promote, they don't. But then, you know, we just have to find new people who go through that process 1 to 7, say yes to every single step. So that for me was the biggest takeaway. I can't hear you. Oh, shit.
I muted myself.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, correct. Wow, that's so amazing. Is there anything else you want to share?
I have one more. Yay. Okay, cool. Thank you. Because there's so much. I think the other thing that I found quite interesting is that when Scott Ross was lining 10 people up on stage, and he was basically saying only 2 out of these 10 will do something about it. And then instead of, you know, we are always so focused that we want to help our new people to get their full, right? Because we know then they have no monthly fees anymore. I mean, the membership fees are being waived. They only have to pay the rep business. That's like just a minimum fee, basically. So sometimes I feel, or actually quite often I feel, I want it more for the new people than they want it for themselves. So I keep following up and come on, invite your people and la, 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 la. So I try to, you know, kind of move them down to that 7 yeses, and I'm stuck. They sign up, but they won't talk to their contacts. And it drags your energy. It also takes a lot of time. You know, we're so focused on this one person. And what Scott basically was kind of like demonstrating with this exercise, when somebody signs up, you right away ask them, who do you know who's definitely going to go with you? And like when I present, I usually also say, I'm sure while you were watching it, you were already thinking of people, you know, that you want to like get on a trip with or whatever. So just do this. Just find one. So instead of making a list of 20, right away you just ask for one. Give me that one person that, you know, that, remember in the GST training, we talk about when you invite, like who's that, or when you make your list, who's that person, you have 1% battery on your phone and you have 4 flat tires, what are you going to do? Who are you going to call? So what's that one person? And for Scott Ross, he said, it was my mom. You know, that's sweet. But we all have this one person, the low-hanging fruit. Just go for that one. Now, when that person signs up, you do exactly the same process. Whatever number 1 does in that moment, fine if they continue inviting, fine if they don't, because you now work with that easy one for number 2. And you keep rolling like this. until you have like enough momentum that like all of a sudden a travel party fills up because somebody will do something about it. Somebody at some point in time is going to give you a call. You already at number 6, 7 maybe. And number 2 is going to call you and say, hey, I've got a prospect. I really want you to come and share with them. Hey, hallelujah. But you don't get stuck working with number 1 because you so want them to get 4. It's their choice whether they want to get 4 or not. Our responsibility is to make them see that if they don't invite, they never get their 4. But they have to move on, and we just use that easy one. And that for me was like a big, oh yeah, guilty. Won't do it anymore.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Because that was really very interesting, you know, get the easy one, because the 1 or 2 that you can, no matter what you say, they will still come out and meet you, and just go and meet them, share with them, and that's how team get exploded. I remember I was on the IMD trip. I was asking Eric Gabowski, you know, any secret? Yeah, you always ask for secret. Any secret to actually have a huge team? And he says that you always work with new people, and because of the strategy that Scott Ross shared, he has built from 1 person to 83% in a month, and that's the exact strategy that he's on. And that's why, you know, thank you for sharing on this. And since you are, you know, on the ISE team, you know, International Advisory Council, yeah, and is there any updates from the corporate that you want to actually share with us?
Okay, yeah, okay, for people who don't know this, like the International Advisory Council in each region that we have, including Asia, usually the Friday before we have a bigger event, we sit together with the corporate executives. And sometimes we just been informed of stuff that you also get informed in the training, but sometimes they ask us for feedback, which is great, because like you can give us the input, and then, you know, we are going to give that input then further. So for Asia, you would have, of course, our Max Tay in that team, and you would have James, of course, Dr. Wu. So these people are on that group, on that council, and we discuss with corporate. So for me, not only was the training the best training that I've been to, but also the ISC meeting for me was great, because if you've been around for a while, you see that the dream trips, a lot of complaints we get from dream trips. You know, people go there a lot of times super excited, giving really good feedback, but then there are things that are not working, and we wish we could like book all our children in, and sometimes that's a bit cumbersome. Or then we have, oh, you know, the trip to Greece is great, but I don't go for 4 days, 3 nights. So that kind of good stuff. So what Roya actually has done, which I think is brilliant, and now implemented a corporate structure that will have a headquarter in Asia. So there is a VP for Rovia, is going to be based in Singapore. Red is his name. And the dream trips that we have in Asia will be coming out of Asia. So no more person in the US would be sitting there doing all our trips. They're going to be procured and done in Asia, which I think is really fantastic. We also have now where we say this is a market. So Asia is not only a destination, it's also a market, because a lot of Asians like to travel outside of Asia as well. So then we come to these need to be longer. And maybe we would have different countries lined up or something. Or we would want to have a Chinese host in Santorini, right? So they're working on these things right now to make basically trips, they curate trips for Asians who go then somewhere else, which I think is really, really awesome. So they're listening really well, and I'm quite excited about this. What else did I have for Rodia? Oh, yeah. And then, of course, one big thing. And John McKillop, he also said this from stage. He said, we're going to be able to burn our points, not only on dream trips, but on other things as well. And I think local things. You don't have to leave the country actually and travel. And I think that's awesome. So this is something that's really, really exciting, because I know a lot of people, they don't have annual leave to use up their points, right? So that's really, really cool. And then the other thing that he said that I think is damn cool is this dream body dream trips. Okay, so we're going to have yoga retreats and fitness retreats. You know, I can't wait to get Rhino on one of those retreats. You know, yeah, baby. So that's going to be really awesome. So I'm quite excited about this, because I think the whole wellness is really important. And honestly, like when you travel a lot, you're getting stressed, so you need another trip just to and I like that. So that's for Rovia. One more thing, for those people who are in Malaysia or they're building in Malaysia, and that's very close to our heart, of course, because we've got a lot of people in Malaysia. One good news is we have our license renewed, and this time for 3 years. So this is really, really cool. So while last year we got the first service-based direct selling license in Malaysia ever, we got it only for a year, and the minister made that very clear. It's kind of like almost like a test bed, you know, like, can that really work? And so apparently they like us. So they extended it for 3 more years, which is really, really awesome. And then I know that a lot of people are not so happy with the government, maybe necessarily, but one big thing that they said, which is great, they definitely want to have the OTA back. So OTA stands for Online Travel Agency. It's the a la carte booking engine that we say about the hotels and the flights and everything. The reason, if you haven't heard that yet, that corporate took it down in Malaysia is because if you think about it, when you book something, sometimes you get the invoice from, in my case, for example, for Emirates or from whatever, you know, from whoever is providing that service. In some instances, Rovia actually issues the invoice. Now, in that case, Rovia also has to pay taxes on that transaction. And because it was a bit difficult to decide actually when are we the merchant of record and when is somebody else, and for that part that we have to pay the corporate tax. They took it down because they were worried about the government saying, wait a second, you know. So out of safety reasons, they basically took it down. So the good news is it's definitely going to come back in the next couple of weeks, sooner than later. That was what we were told. And then you have your dreamtrips.my, and you'll have a link back to OTA, which is currently still provided by Rovia. But then at some point in time, because of the legislation in Malaysia, we're going to have a service provider similar to SkyZone right now for the Dream Trips, who then is going to process everything, and everything is going to be cool. So for Malaysia, we're totally safe. Now, I also know that some people heard that there might be OTA, this a la carte booking engine issues in Singapore or Australia. Same reason, because of the taxation needed to be fixed. In Singapore, that may happen at some point in time, but only for a fraction. They won't take it down, okay, still. But the inventory that they have, they may have to take some of the inventory out until they have fixed that taxation issue. You may notice, because maybe it's not as rich as it is right now. Now, the way that we handle this as reps is very easy. We should never over-promise and oversell that booking engine to begin with, okay? We are about curating great travel experiences right now. So don't say, we have this, everything is in there in the OTA, because some of the inventory is going to take down. Not a lot, but it's going to be taken out, yeah? So you may not find your low-cost carriers on that engine anymore at some point in time. It should come with proper communication, and the company did apologize for not communicating properly for Malaysia. So it may come, but it should be very minimum. So that is another point. I think that's it. Max, you in the IAC as well. Anything else that you would like to share that you think is like important for
much
people
more
to know?
greener than me now. So yeah, you got it all.
Oh, these things must be green so people understand, because I don't want people to be worried that things are not in shape. I mean, I'm totally, like, I've always been sold on this company, but after the IAC, I'm even more so. Awesome company.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Angelika, for sharing. Oh my God. Hey. Okay, cool. You know, seriously, we just came out from Acceleration, and Acceleration has been super awesome. And you know, as always, we build from events to events to events. Other than, you know, after Acceleration, the next biggest event is actually boot camp. And just allow me to share my screen. Yep. And you know, we have, yep. Okay, yes, boot camp coming to Singapore Indoor Stadium. Oh my God, you know, it's one of the biggest arenas in Singapore itself, and we are going to actually rock it there. And it's on the 12th to the 14th of May. Trainers are Mark Aceta, literally WorldVentures 001, Jefferson Santos, IMD Fan Hong is going to be there. training us, and Selwyn is going to train us. Anyone I miss out? Anyone? Yes, right. These are the main key people, right? And that's where that we gonna actually. Oops, you're gonna see our notes. Oh, never mind. It's okay. um, yep. And literally, I don't know why is it like that, but anyway, yes, it's cool. Um, these are the rock solid people, the top 1%, literally even top 0.1% of World Ventures is going to be there. So this is where that you should book right now. Take advantage of the early bird pricing. If I remember correctly, bootcamp is $199, early bird is $149, and so take advantage of the early bird pricing. You need to be at the next bootcamp itself. So it's literally the whole of Asia. And James Lee too, right? Yes. And the early bird itself pricing ends on Friday. So please take advantage of it. Book the next boot camp. You need to be there because the whole of Asia honestly blew up because of the very first boot camp in November 2011. And we all understand boot camp is a very important event, and you're gonna have the best of the best Asia. And Jefferson Santos, yes, Jefferson Santos is damn good looking. Yeah, just slightly better looking than me and Mike, so I know. Yeah, but literally you got to be there. Thanks, Carmen, for the encouragement. Yep, thanks all for the encouragement. I know we are just slightly less handsome. Yeah. Anyway, yes. So you should be at the boot camp to understand how WorldVentures work, how to be, the professionals of WorldVentures itself. So I will see you at the next event. Oh yes, very important. So a lot of people actually ask me, Max, that's gonna be in May. So what happens to April, right? We got to be trained every single month. Okay, yes, there's gonna be a Super Saturday in somewhere near you, in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, in Malaysia, in Penang, in KL, even in JB and Singapore. So there's going to be a Super Saturday near you, either on the 15th or the 22nd of April itself. So go and ask your sponsor when is the next Super Saturday and get yourself booked on bootcamp itself. So I will see you on the next event near you. Thank you very much, everyone. Good night. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Good night.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Enjoy your evening. Gonna have coffee now and cake.
Bye.
Bye.